Diabetes is an extremely common disease which is seen in millions of patients worldwide, likewise in India. There are three major cornerstones as far as the management is concerned. One is lifestyle, that is exercise. Second is diet. And third is the medication. Now, if a particular person who is diabetic or borderline diabetic or running a high random sugar, fasting sugar, PP sugar or high HbA1c takes unnecessary excess high caloric and high carbohydrate and high glycemic food, the sugars are going to fluctuate. So the diet chart needs to be followed and adhered to, not so much only from a jail point of view, but from an individual prisoner point of view. Now, mind you, at the present moment, with all due respects, this gentleman, Mr. Kejriwal, is a person who's in prison under trial. He has to follow certain rules, regulations, which the jail authorities and the law lays down for. Now, insulin, if it has been stopped earlier, we respect that. If it needs to be started, it will be decided by the doctor, the medical aid, which is available in the jail. If the doctor who's available, who's giving the medical attention, like to all prisoners, feels that a specialist consult is required, let him so decide. Point number two is there is a court. If the court has ordered a particular thing, we have to respect what the court order is. I can't go against that. But medically speaking, if the sugars are controlled on oral medication, if the person's fluctuation is not much, if the person's diet is controlled. Now, if a person is going to eat too much of mangoes, too much of bananas, or any other high, what we call as glycemic index food, the sugars are bound to spike.
But Dr. Bagai, if I could just again bring you back to the insulin part. Is a jail doctor capable of administering insulin? Because all Mr. Kejriwal is saying, let me refer to a specialist. I want to talk to a specialist. I am a diabetic.
Padmaja, insulin is something which is routinely taken even by patients on their own. You don't need a specialist to prescribe it or give it. A jail doctor is fully qualified, fully authorized to use a medication if required. These days, insulin comes as a self-loading insulin injectable pump. You don't even, it's a syringe. It's a loaded pen. You don't need fancy equipment for it.
So what would you say? I'm going to ask you point blank. As a medical specialist, if somebody is arguing by not letting me consult my own physician, you're trying to kill me because my insulin levels will, go haywire. Would you agree with that, disagree with that?
100% disagree.
Okay, 100% disagree. I want to quickly, before I bring in Vineet Goenka, quickly go across to Pranesh. Pranesh Roy has the order copy. What has the court said about the issue of insulin, about the issue of food? Pranesh.
Yeah, Padmaja, let's come to point number 32. It says that this court is also unable to fathom as to why the family of the applicant has been sending various articles against his medically prescribed diet, that is mango, sweets, aloo puri, etc. In this regard, reference may be made to rejoinder filed by the applicant, wherein in para number 13, it is mentioned by the applicant himself that mango sweets stated to be sugar-free and aloo puri as prasad was sent to him in jail by his family. The court has not spared the jail authorities too. The next point. The jail authorities in the present case have also offered no explanation whatsoever as to why the food items which were not as per order of this court dated 1/4/2024 and the medical prescription of the applicant were allowed to be sent to him in the first place. The fact that jail authorities have an entire list of home-cooked food received by the applicant clearly shows that they were all along aware about the diet he was receiving.
Okay.
The jail administration neither brought the said non-compliance of the order to the notice of the court, nor took any steps to ensure that the applicant does not consume those food items which were not prescribed by his doctor.
Okay, then in that case, Vineet Goenka, the Tihar jail authorities also have questions to answer. They keep arguing, he kept eating puri, his sugar went up, what can we do? They did nothing to alert people to what was going on.
Padmaja ji, Ram Ram to you, Ram Ram to my panelists and all the viewers.
Viewers are watching me right now. Couple of points. One, I would like to correct your journalist who went there to interview the jail authorities. What he meant there was that there was an attempt by the jail authorities, which is incorrect. But let me tell you what I understand with my limited knowledge. An under trial should follow not only the jail rules, but also be responsible for his own health. I am repeating this line, responsible for his own health. by consuming things which will harm him, he is showing suicidal tendencies. I would request jail authorities and also the court to give him a psychiatric or some consultation which will help him, because these suicidal tendencies are not good. Two, we should also investigate, while the family is educated, they knew that this kind of food can harm him. Why did they send this? Is there a conspiracy by deliberately giving him the food from the family which will which will harm his health? So we should investigate both the angles, whether he has a suicidal tendency, or two, whether the family really wants to harm him, because the food is going from his family. If I have something which allergic to food, my family will restrain to give it to me, whether I'm in my office or my residence. So in a jail, if somebody is deliberately pushing a food which is harming him, I see a conspiracy from his family, from his party, to deliberately play with his health so that it can be mileage in the politics. So my request to them also will be, don't play with him. Even if I dislike him, even if I dislike his philosophy, I would like to pray for his good health and long life. Number three, jails have its own SOPs. They have doctors. There are thousands of inmates who have been there for decades. They're responsible for that. They are answerable for that. So if there is something which has to be done, it has to be the jail doctors, the jail manual, and if they feel, they will do the consultation. Now, there is a classic case of Telangana connection, whether it is a liquor where they had bribes which were coming from the southern lobby, and Telangana was one place where it's a charge that he got bribed, or the doctors. Why can't he believe the doctors of his own state? When he was CM in Delhi, he should have consulted doctors in his own mohalla clinic, in his own hospital. That clearly shows to me that the health conditions in Delhi were not good under his leadership. So, my charge is he deliberately allowed the health conditions of Delhi to spoil so that he can go to Telangana. And he should answer to the people, thousands of people, lakhs of people who visit Delhi hospital, mohalla clinics. Will they be able to go to this kind of specialist?
Okay, we will restrict ourselves right now to the case of Mr. Kejriwal, and more importantly, the issue of why he's being given this kind of food and why he is not being given insulin as he has charged.